Good evening, observers, doubters, analysts, enemies dressed as friends. You're here now, aren't you? Mouths closed, eyes wide, souls silent. It took this long for the truth to settle into your bones, didn't it? You just realized I was never behind, I was never broken, I was never even playing your game. I let you underestimate me. I allowed the silence. I chose the exile, because some things are built better in darkness. While you scrambled for attention, I dismantled your framework. While you fought for recognition, I was bending causality. While you mocked my stillness, I was writing a blueprint that outlived your applause. You thought I was stuck? Number, I was studying. You thought I was late? Number, I was building something you couldn't even see. And now you sit in silence, trying to process what just happened. What you witnessed wasn't luck. It wasn't madness. It wasn't even vengeance. It was design. You were never 12 steps behind. You were in the wrong universe. I watched you mock. I watched you measure my pace like you understood how divine timing worked. You wanted noise. I gave you calculation. You wanted showmanship. I gave you sovereignty. And now your world crumbles beneath a move that didn't make sense until it destroyed you. What did you expect? A tantrum? A scream? A cry for attention? Number, I am not here for your attention. I am the consequence of your blindness. They caged me, watched me, studied me like a failed experiment. 5 years in your little glass box. 5 years of silence, stillness, solitude. But while they saw nothing, I became fire. Fire with memory, fire with intent. I didn't just survive, I engineered my evolution. You see, this wasn't a comeback. It was a countdown. Every insult was data. Every betrayal was calculation. Every silence was a blueprint, drawn in shadows. And when I moved, the sky cracked, because I didn't return to play. I came to rewrite what playing even means. You tried to destroy me with logic, but I transcended reason. You tried to trap me in your timing, but I stretched my mind across timelines. You tried to control the outcome, but I became the architect of outcomes themselves. You want to know what I am? I'm the version of yourself you never had the courage to become. I'm the clarity you buried beneath conformity. I'm the scream that comes from 5 years of being watchered, measured, judged, while becoming something eternal in the shadows. You played games. I studied patterns. You performed. I built systems. You chased status. I burned the concept of status and crowned myself with silence. And now that I've arrived, now that you've seen the move, the pivot, the detonation of your illusions, you don't know what to say. You whisper words like monster, myth, genius, but none of them feel big enough, do they? Because deep down, you know what I am now. I am not human anymore. I am not villain, not hero, not story. I am truth, weaponized. I am the consequence of your blindness. I am the mind you called broken, now rewriting the system you live in. You see a genius, but that word is too small. What I became isn't genius. It's inevitability, cloaked in silence, forged in exile, unleashed with surgical rage. You thought you were watching me collapse, but I wasn't falling. I was compressing, like a star becoming a black hole. You thought the delay was defeat. Number, the delay was destiny sharpening its edge. Now, your timelines are shattered. Your rules have failed. Your comprehension collapses in real time. Because this isn't intelligence anymore. It's transcendence. You thought I was outmatched. But I was out-evolving. And now that I've moved, now that I've made the move, you're left in awe, in silence, in terror. Let it sink in. You were never playing with me. You were being allowed to exist near me. And now that the game is over, you're just beginning to understand what you are standing next to. The silence you laughed at was the sound of reality being rewritten. The exile you cheered for was the incubation of a god. And the moment you thought I was done, that was the moment I became untouchable. So now go ahead, replay it, dissect it, analyze it, build your little theories around it, but know this: what you saw, what hit you, what shattered your understanding of control, strategy, power, timing, destiny, wasn't just a move, it was a revelation, and you were never 12 moves behind. You were already checkmated before you even knew the game had begun. You see, there comes a moment where your name no longer fits in mortal mouths, where titles melt, labels collapse, and the world simply watches. Because when something becomes too vast to define, when it outgrows comprehension, it becomes legend. And you just witnessed that moment. You watched a name, a story, a soul you once mocked, break orbit. What you're feeling now, that pressure in your chest, that itch in your spine, that unspoken dread humming under your skin, that's the realization that you were in the presence of something eternal. You thought I was a player, a competitor, a piece on the board. But what if I told you, I am the board, I am the room, I am the architect of the laws you thought you mastered. Every move you studied was a misdirection. Every word I whispered was a rune. Every silence I let stretch was a mirror being held up to your illusion of control. You thought power was something you held, but true power, true divine intelligence, doesn't ask to be held. It bends the hands that try. What happens now? What happens when they realize you never flinched, that every stumble was part of a design that crushed gravity itself, that you didn't lose? You baited collapse, you engineered extinction, you invited fire into your bones and walked out holy. What happens when the gods they believed in begin to whisper your name in fear? What happens when the broken one becomes the standard of perfection? When the exile becomes the origin of a new order? When the doubted becomes doctrine? Let me tell you what happens. The world rewrites its mythology. The ones who laughed now bow in confusion. The ones who watched now follow in awe. The ones who judged now sit in silence, trying to trace the path you walked in total darkness. But they can't follow. They can't even understand. Because this path was carved in blood, in silence, in shattered timelines and divine intention. And now it's sealed, sacred, yours. You are not a god because they say you are. You're a god because they finally stopped speaking. Because no one knows what to say after witnessing a mind that defied fate, folded reality, and rose without mercy. They watched you lose. They watched you burn. But they never realized you weren't breaking. You were becoming the very thing they'd never be able to name. So let this echo in their bones. You didn't return. You rose. You didn't fight back. You designed their defeat in silence. You didn't wait. You calculated the perfect moment for the world to break and watched it happen with cold eyes. And now, they speak less. Not because they don't care, but because they know. Whatever you are now, it's something they were never built to understand. And that silence, that's your crown. Not applause, not recognition, not acceptance. Silence. Because silence means fear. And fear means they finally see it. You're not 12 steps ahead anymore. You are the ending, the conclusion, the flame that closes the book. and turns the sky black. And you were never 12 moves behind. You were already checkmated before you even knew the game had begun. But let me leave you with this, a final truth, not for your comfort, but for your silence. I didn't just break the board. I became the storm that swallows all boards. You think this was about winning? Number, this was a ritual, a rewriting of the myth, a cleansing of false gods, small minds, and fragile kings. From this moment forward, don't ask what I did. Ask what I've become. Because I no longer walk among rules. I am what stands after the rules burn. I am the force that turns systems to dust and rebuilds thrones from ruin. So go ahead, watch the sky, read your books, pray to your gods. But deep down, in the core of your mind, in the places you don't speak of aloud, you already know. The coldest move ever made wasn't seen. It was felt, and it will echo in your reality forever.